Hi guys, this is Noiser and by demand from a sub called Kacperooo PL, here's a new version of Equipped for Bandit. He or she wanted me to make a new one since Bandit had lost his ACOG, although that is some time ago now. It was about time I did this as well, as I play a lot of Bandit and certainly play him a lot different now compared to when I made the first version. Which feels like ages ago, by the way. Bandit is a really versatile defender, as he's great as a roamer with his speed and good weapons, and can also play anchor, holding and switching between multiple angles on the objective. He certainly can make it harder for attackers to breach open reinforced walls by using his batteries and actively performing the Bandit trick, which I will talk a bit more about later for those of you that are new to the game. But before we dig further into that, let's take a look at his loadout. Bandit is a 3-speed, 1-armor operator with shockwire batteries as his special ability. With these he can electrify reinforced walls, deployable shields and barbed wire. He can choose between two primary weapons that are both good, although his SMG, the MP7, is a better choice in my opinion. The M870 shotgun is a beast at close range though, and really fun to run around with, although I feel that sort of playstyle is best on maps that currently are out of the ranked map pool. Yacht, favelas and perhaps house as well. The MP7 is according to me one of the best guns for defenders in the game, as it's fairly easy to use, has a high rate of fire and perhaps the best all-round sight in the game. And that's actually the default iron sight. This is easy to track enemies with since there's nothing obstructing your view and it's still accurate enough to use at range. If this exact sight was available on other weapons, I would probably use it, especially instead of other CQB sights. The ACOG is of course better at range, a sight that Bandit actually used to have before he got nerfed, but compared to an ACOG, this iron sight is much better for close encounters and was suitable for a versatile playstyle. I equipped the MP7 with a muzzle brake, which is the best muzzle attachments for all guns when you use small bursts and tap firing. And on console, taps and bursts is what I think works best for most guns and situations, as long as you're not really close to your target. For the secondary, Bandit only have the choice of the P12, but that's a great handgun and even more fun to use now after the recoil buff to all handguns. Bandit can equip barbed wire or C4, and he actually gets 3 barbed wire, unlike anyone else, although he will lose one very soon in the mid-reinforcement patch, so he will then only have 2 as the rest of the defenders. Barbed wire is actually often what I choose with Bandit, as they always comes to good use. Sure, when playing Mira by window, C4 is really powerful and something that gets used every round, but I don't feel the same way about Bandit. Barbed wire, however, will always make it harder for attackers, and combined with batteries, they can also kill drones instantly if you don't have a mute on the team, for example. When it comes to the battery trick, this was extremely powerful before Hibana arrived. Now it's a different thing, especially if Hibana and Thermite do a simultaneous breach. A good Thatcher can also time 3 EMPs to make it harder for bandits to time the placement of the battery, so Bandit players have a tougher time today than earlier seasons. If you're new to Rainbow Six Siege and don't even know what I'm talking about, the Bandit trick is about timing the placement of a battery to destroy Thermite's exothermic charges before they blow up, or Hibana's for that matter. If the battery is in place just after the Thermite charge has started, cutting through the wall, you will be able to destroy it. If you're a bit too late, you might end up getting killed by the explosion instead. So the first thing you need to do is to put your gadget deployment to hold instead of toggle in the options. This way you can just release the button and abort if you realize you missed your chance, instead of being stuck in an animation which will kill you. With a good headset and situational awareness, you could shut down Thermite on many objectives, even if they have a Thatcher. Just listen for the subtle thump Thermite's charge makes when being placed and learn to hear on which side of you that is. If you're new to the game and don't know how it works, you can practice it a bit, perhaps on objectives with only 2 reinforced panels to cover to make it a bit easier. Like the wall into Armory Locker's objective on Border from the balcony. With the game sound cranked up and chat lowered, I can quite easily hear if it's left, right or center on 3 panels as well. even with background noise, but it requires some practice. A mirror window can of course make it even easier, but they can just smoke that, so learn to go by sound. One thing to keep in mind though is that Hibana's pellets can be stopped at a later time than thermites, as I think they have a longer burn time. So you can wait until you hear and see her pellets burning before you place the battery, which is a bit harder to have time to do with thermites charges. When I play Bandit, I often try to rotate between different angles on the objectives, to use his speed, avoid being droned out and rushed, and just make it harder for attackers to dare to push by pre-firing angles a lot from relatively safe positions. If you rotate between different cover and pre-fire short peeks from different positions, you're quite hard to read. Let's call it the slippery soap tactic, because the slippery soap is kind of what you are. Hard to get hold of, bouncing left and right in an unpredictable way. When I manage to play like this, Bandit often works really well, and this is how you, according to me, get the best out of him. Sure, as a roamer you can do pretty much the same thing, but I normally play better in a support role and often like to have a job holding the objectives. With Bandit's batteries, it's sort of your place to be if you have an objective with walls that can be bandit tricked anyway. So to sum this up, I equip Bandit with the MP7 with the stock iron sight and muzzle brake. I go with barbed wire as they always comes to good use, and I try to make good use of his batteries by bandit tricking or shutting down an entire long wall to try to force the attackers to use up their gadgets or choose another entry point. My suggestion is that you use his speed to move from cover to cover to hold many angles on or near the objective to make it harder for the attackers to make an easy push towards you and the objective. So that's about it for this one, guys. What are your thoughts on Bandit and how do you like to use him? Do you agree or disagree with my playstyle and loadout, or did I totally miss something or need to be corrected in some way? Please share your thoughts by leaving a comment below. Give me a thumbs up or down so I get some sort of feedback on this video, and push that subscribe button and the bell icon next to it to get notified when I post my next video. I'll be back soon again, and until then, I will keep being noiser. Hej då!